4 major studies claiming diverse workforces earn more money were bogus. These studies were used to push DEI everywhere, even the military. This is what you get for trusting the experts instead of your lying eyes. Everyone with a functioning brain could tell you this was bullshit. But the experts say that it's not, and you're not an expert, so shut up. Do you have a degree? No? Well, the guy that's lying to me does, so I'm going to believe him. And this is what you get. Now, you know how whenever we talk about DEI, the woke bros tell you that really diversity-based hiring is good for business, it brings different perspective, and it's helpful for success? Yeah, I got so sick of hearing it, I started blocking everyone that spouts that lie. And that's one of the best decisions I've ever made. Like, if you're gullible enough to believe so blatant of a lie, I have no interest in ever talking to you. Like, nothing you say can have any value. Well, a lot of times when they use evidence, they're citing 4 widely used and well-known McKinsey studies. The problem? A new study published by Econ Journal Watch shows the results were not repeatable. Yeah, that is a pretty big problem in academia in general nowadays. Well, they actually have a name for it. I think it's actually called the repeatability crisis or the reproducibility crisis. It's one of those, I can't remember. Because there's a lot of studies in a lot of these fake fields, like these soft science fields like racism, where that are completely unrepeatable. So, and my theory is those that pushed this through knew that they weren't repeatable. They just kept doing it over and over again until they got the results they wanted. And then they threw out the 99 studies they did where they didn't get the results they wanted, and they kept the one where they did, just so they can abuse the trust the experts mentality. And now that they've abused that so much, they're going to wonder, why doesn't anyone trust us anymore? Now, meaning that diversity is our strength is not a hard and fast rule. Pentagon hardest hit, that's right. Right, over the past few years, McKinsey released at least 4 studies claiming a positive relationship between DEI and firm performance. A new paper published today by EconWatch finds these results can't be replicated. Big shocker right there. So whenever someone tries to pull a trust the experts on you, ask them to show evidence that what they're claiming is repeatable. Now, our inability to replicate their results suggests that they should not be relied on to support the view that U.S. publicly traded firms can expect to deliver improved financial performance if they increase their racial ethnic diversity of their executives. Oh, actually, no. See, this, I take back everything I just said. I agree with this. I am not for diversifying the grunt level workforce, but if these executives that have been pushing DEI so hard on the rest of us, most of them are white men. So why don't we make them put their money where their mouth is and have them give up their jobs to black women or something? If we're talking about executives, I'm all for this. It's the executives that like to push it. So, make them lead by example. Hell yeah, I take back what I said. Let's do this. Hey, poor Mark Cuban, he's essentially used this as a foundation for all his arguments supporting DEI the past few months. Yeah, imagine your entire talking point being torn apart because it was all based on a lie. Right, diversity is not our strength. Common sense wins out again. Yeah, they always like to point out, if we just have all these people with different viewpoints, having these different viewpoints is going to be a benefit. Okay, within reason, maybe. But if you have like 3 or 4 groups of people together that hate each other and want to kill each other, how productive do you think that's going to be? And my, oh my, how I wanted to straight up steal this headline. Ooh. No, I didn't contribute anything to the study. I just found it and twatted it. But since it's going viral, yeah, right about DEI. That's right. So in before the New York Post sees this tweet and writes a story like McKinsey lied about DI improving firm performance. New study reveals such story will probably do gangbusters. You have my permission to write it. Oh man, a lot of journalists are kind of bitter when other people actually go over their content and make it more successful than them. Yeah, it's kind of weird because, like, say, when Asmongold covers a YouTuber's video, and then that YouTuber gains an influx of popularity from that, they don't really mind even if Asmongold's like response gets more views than their original video. Yet journalists seem to be a little bit special. Say, well, with Chris Brunett's permission, here I am writing this story. McKinsey and Company is the oldest of the big three consulting firms. They're multinational, and their studies and recommendations are considered the gold standard for businesses of all kinds. Is that still going to be the case now? Would you still trust these quote-unquote experts after how they lied to you? What they say has tremendous impact on the business world, and to say the very least. And they clown themselves big time with this one. So here's a little sample of Jeremiah Green and John R.M. Hand's journal article, Debunking the Diversity is Our Strength myth. In conclusion, our results indicate that despite the imprimatur often given to McKinsey's current year -9, current year -6, and current year -4, and current year -1 studies, McKinsey's studies neither conceptually in terms of correct direction or causality, nor empirically in terms of their set of large U.S. public firms, support the argument that large U.S. public firms can expect on average to deliver improved financial performance if they increase the ratio of ethnic diversity of their executives. I think they should do it anyway, because these executives love to fire all the white people at the grunt levels of their company and replace them. So fine, replace the executives too. So see how on board they are with DEI when it comes for their jobs. I don't mind. The journal article gives methodology used in the new study and shows the authors attempting to replicate the results of McKinsey's initial studies that are used as a sledgehammer in the corporate world to force DEI values. They couldn't replicate them, and they even showed diversity of skin color doesn't make a lick of difference. Yeah, you know what probably would, though? Firing the activists instead of the productive employees. That would probably make a difference. Current year -1 study that Brunette also shared shows that McKinsey didn't just misread the data. They cherry-picked examples to falsely support the results they desired. That's pretty much exactly what I guessed at the beginning right there, isn't it? That's exactly what I said would happen. They probably did this like 100 times. They only got the result they wanted, 1 out of 100. They just conveniently ignored the 99 that didn't give them what they wanted. Trust the science. Trust the experts. Now, here's a study from a current year -1 on the same subject, which concludes that McKinsey's DI data is so cherry-picked that it's useless. McKinsey's panel data is not sufficiently representative for conclusions to be derived from an analysis based on companies within the data set. Consequently, McKinsey's conclusions are unreliable and cannot be generalized. Anyone who fell for this, you got to be feeling extra stupid now, huh? Yeah, generalized they were. They were treated as the holy grail of diversity and business findings. Yup. For years, corporations cited these studies to justify DEI programs. Turns out that it was all a lie. And this, I'm not even mad. This is just natural selection. Those that were dumb enough to fall for this because the experts told them so are now losing money. Like they're bleeding money. Meanwhile, those that were smart enough to question an obvious lie, they're somehow doing okay. Huh. Man, this is just natural selection working as intended. All right. We all knew this was happening. We knew that the studies were political and largely made up, and now there's proof. Yeah. And now, after so many companies sank themselves because of this, yeah. How many of them are going to be willing to actually apologize? How many companies are going to go crawling back to their fans? Please come back. We're sorry. We'll make it up to you. Oh, you better be really good at sucking dick, because if you want to make it up to me, I'll give you the chance. But you're basically going to be my bitch for the next decade. And as soon as you're not willing to do what I say, I'm taking my wallet and leaving. So, yeah, you better be prepared. Yeah, they'll pass on the blame and double down, most likely. It's all political. It's all agenda pushing. Always. Yeah, this is what it's always been. It's always been a lie, and only the stupidest people fell for it. And now we just laugh at natural selection doing its damn job.